Hey everyone, this is alexusadays, and we're continuing with REST API testing with Postman. All right, so this is module 10, and this is last module. We're going to talk about automation. So once you have your collection running, you have your variables set up, you have your environment configured, everything is in place, you can start scheduling your test, and you can do it using Postman built-in UI tools, or you can use a Newman that will allow you to embed your collections into your CI/CD process. All right, so in this section, we'll expand our initial Postman collection to cover advanced automation techniques for API testing. Main ways to run Postman automation are using collection runner. So it's a manual test execution or data-driven testing. The collection runner is a built-in tool in Postman that allows users to run a collection of API requests in a sequence. Then we're going to talk about monitors, and it's also a built-in tool. It's scheduled test runs with alerting mechanism. You can configure monitors to run at specific times, view detailed reports, and receive alerts through integration like Slack or email. And we're going to talk about Newman, and Newman is a command line interface for Postman, which allows you to run collections directly from the terminal. It's ideal for integration Postman tests into CI/CD pipelines, for example, Jenkins, GitLab, CI, Circle CI, to automate testing on every build or deployment. Newman allows for running collections in any environment, generating reports, and automating regression tests. All right, let's get into it. So here we are. This is our collection, Restful-booker Advanced. Now let's make sure every test that we have every request that we have actually have some sort of a test. So for authorization, let's make sure that we get at least a 200 coming back. So scripts, post response, and let's just add a status code test. So I clicked on the snippet and it added it automatically. Let's save that. For create booking, we do have quite a lot of tests. That's good. Get booking, we created also some tests. Update booking, we also have some tests. Get updated booking, we have some tests. For delete, we don't have a test. When we delete a booking, let's create one and then go try delete it. So we get 201. Now we know that's a wrong response, but because we want to have a confirmation of a test, let's just add it, even though this is wrong and it be something, it should be 204, but we're just going to confirm. So we have a test here as well. So save it. Verify booking deleted, and there is a test here. All right, so we have a collection with a bunch of requests and responses, scripts, some variables set up within a test environment. How can we start automating, right? Well, so here we have configure workspace sidebar. If you click on that, you can enable monitors right here. So that would be one of the ways. So let's just enable it, and you can see now monitors appeared over here. And if we click on monitors, we can create one. And when we create a monitor, let's give it name test. We can select collection, so Restful-booker Advanced. Tag is current. We can select environment. If there's data file, we can upload one here if we're using any. Then you can have it weekly timer. You can run it every day, every Thursday. You can select how often you want to run it, time when it kicks off. Other settings, where to send the response of the failures or errors. You send up email. You can, if you have multiple failures, you can stop notification after a certain amount of failures happening, and you can create a monitor. So this will sit there and it will kick off daily. We can just run it for now, but it will kick off daily when you scheduled, and it will report on the results. So I just ran it right now just to show you. So it's preparing to run, and then it will give you the results once the run is completed. All right, still preparing. Can we just run it? I think I scheduled 2 runs. Okay, let's give it some time. Okay, so here we have report completing. 0% failed. We can see the test results. So we have the post for our authorization running. We got 200 for the status code. We have booking post and all of the tests. We have updated the created booking get request. We get put here. We get after run input, delete, and then verifying that it was deleted. So all of them run, all of the requests run, everything passed. We have the report, nothing failed, and then this monitor will run whenever you schedule it, daily basis, multiple times a day, and send a report to whoever you need to email that to. It's very convenient. All right, so the reports is one thing. The other thing that you can do, you can just click on three dots, the hamburger menu on the collection, and you can have run a collection, right? So like just manually, we can run Restful-booker advanced manually, and it's going to run the whole thing, give you a report. So each, again, request being ran. Here is a report, everything's passing, nothing's failing, one iteration, what the environment it is, and so on. Everything looking good. Now you can automate run. So instead of manual, right, you can automate the run. You can schedule it. You can run it with Postman CLI, and you can integrate it with CI/CD. So if I'll go back to the hamburger menu, run collection. So here, instead of run manually, we can click schedule run. And it's pretty much like with monitor. You can have the name for this. You can say how frequently you want to run it. Every day at 1 a.m. You can select environment, data file if needed, and again, email notification who will receive it once the run is completed, if it's passing or failing. Now, you also can do automation, automate runs via CLI now, or you can do schedule collection runs like expanded. So if you look into the CLI, there is an API key that you can provide here, and then you can just copy and paste this, and it will use the API key to reach to your collection, whatever the CLI you're using, and it will run your collection by this ID and the API key that you provide. You can also configure CI/CD command here. So this is more advanced stuff, but I just want you to know there's a capability. We're not going to do it because if you're scheduling things on CI/CD pipelines, you're pretty much far more advanced just using Postman tool in general. You're doing some DevOps or CI/CD or SDAT tooling, so that might be a little bit far ahead from this course, but you want to know that there is a capability for that. If someone asks you, hey, can we have Postman running on CI/CD, you can say, yeah, there's capability to do that. So we can have a configure command to run it, and it will give you a bunch of CI/CD tools. So again, collection, test environment, you can select what environment you're running it on, Linux or Mac or Windows. Let's say I'm on Windows. Then you can select your CI/CD, Jenkins, Bitbucket, GitLab, Azure, GitHub Actions, whatever you have. So let's say I want to run it in Azure, on Windows, or let's say on Mac. Now it's going to give me a virtual machine. It's going to give me, essentially, it gives me the whole file that I need, configuration in the file, YAML file, to run this collection. It will give an API key, so you'll have to provide that. It will give you the ID for the collection, how to reach it out. You can copy it. You can generate API key, then copy this whole code and insert it into your YAML file, and it will run. So when your CI/CD is running, it will also reach into this collection on Postman Cloud and run it using the API key that you generated the collection by the collection ID, by this whole thing. And it's going to execute and report the results. So it's pretty convenient. So this is all running Postman tools, built-in tools within the Postman itself. So how about running it using an ID, or how do you run it without Postman UI? You can actually you can copy, you can export that collection. So again, we click on the hamburger menu, and there is export right here. So you can export this collection, and you can share it as a link, or you can just export the collection and it will save as a file. So we can click on that. I'm gonna save this, and it gives the name. So here, the same one that you have it named within the Postman. So Restful-booker advanced .postman collection.json. I'm saving it. Now collection is saved perfectly. I exported it. Now I can use my favorite IDE to access it and install Newman there and run it. And you can have it as a command with Newman within the CI/CD pipeline as a step, or you can have a whole, your own setup for it. So let's open up Visual Studio Code. Okay. So here's Visual Studio Code. We're here inside of the folder where I saved the exported collection. Everything is here, all of the details on the execution, conveniently saved in a JSON file. Now we have to kind of do a setup for it to be able to run. So however you regularly set up your npm, right? So we want to do npm install -g Newman. So I'm globally installing Newman, a tool that will be able to run the collections. So installation is happening. All right, Newman installed. If you want to init a project, you can do that with the collection. So npm init-y. We're going to have a package JSON here if needed. Now, let's make sure that Newman was installed. Newman-v. Okay, we have a version of a Newman. Now, all we really need to do to run it is have Newman run, and provide a path to the collection. That's it. And it's executing, generating the test reports, what it's running, all our tests, all our requests, everything is here. So you can incorporate exported collection and this command with the Newman. So install Newman and have a Newman run with the collection in the folder in your project. So you can create the whole testing process in Postman using the UI, then export the collection, insert it into your pipeline for your project, and just run it using Newman and have your results output. It's pretty cool. And if you want to have a reporter, let's say you want an HTML report, so you can say report HTML, and let's do reporter HTML dash export Newman report dot HTML, and let's run it one more time. Okay, so it says reporter is installed, so it's asking us to install the reporter. So let's install reporter, and it gives us the command npm install Newman report HTML. So if I'm going to install the reporter, why we wanted to have our project here, let's run it. And you can see it's installed a node module within dependencies here for the project itself. Now we can clear it out and let's run it one more time. So Newman run with the collection name -r HTML dash reporter. Okay, and the name, let's run it one more time. Oh, okay. The thing is, because I installed npm, because I installed Newman globally and reporter is installed in the local project, it can't find the Newman. Okay, let's do this. Npm install Newman. So install it not as a global value, but part of the project. So it's here also part of dependencies. Overriding pure dependency. Okay, okay. So there are some problems with installation. Okay, so because there's a conflict, let's do npm on install global Newman. So it's not part of the whole system. It's going to be in the node modules here. Let's clear it out and let's do npm install Newman within our node modules. Now I see it added to dependencies. All right, so uh, looking good so far. Let's give it another run for the actual collection with HTML report. Okay, so this is airing out now because it was still looking for a global installation. It is no longer globally installed. It's within our folder here, and it's in node module, so we can do npx Newman run. So that should fix it. Okay, here we go. So it ran through the test, and it now generated Newman report, and we can open it up. We can open with a live server, and let's take a look what we generated. And here's an HTML report. We have total of 19 assertions, 7 requests, 7 test scripts. We have authorization. We have create booking, get booking that we created, update. So everything that we had in the Postman was executed, and it generated nice HTML report. Right? And that's pretty much it. So there are multiple methods how you can automate your Postman collections that you created from using built-in tools in the Postman, and Postman will monitor and send emails to you to have the code generated by Postman that you can insert in your CI/CD provider to actually having a Newman as part of your execution in your, let's say, local environment or your local repository. And Newman can be run with the collection that you export from the Postman itself, or you can even have Newman running by reaching out to your collection somewhere in the cloud by using the API key and the collection ID. All right. So there's multiple ways. It's pretty flexible, and I think you can see it's very easy to get started with it. Even if you never did any automation with Postman, just by using the UI, you can, if you have a complete collection, you can start it and immediately do your automation runs. Okay. So that's it. This is all we got. I think if you go through all the videos, you should be able to start doing Postman automation and API testing. And there's definitely a little bit of a prerequisite for this course. So ideally, you want to have some basic JavaScript knowledge. And I mean, if everything you've looked so far was pretty hard for you, take a JavaScript course. You can find one that I created, or you can just find something on YouTube like basic JavaScript, and that should cover enough information for creation of the test in the Postman itself. And once you have all this set it up in Postman, from there you can start running automation through the Postman UI, right? Okay, this was Alex USA Days. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.